Hey guys, welcome to Chasing Gains Radio, episode 19. Today we have an absolutely phenomenal guest. He has a wealth of experience, started out working with athletes, professional sports teams, and transitioned into working more with trainers to be able to have a big impact on the world. He's massively successful. He has over 300 affiliate gyms around the world with his training system, which is called Training for Warriors. He has an amazing impact on the world and an amazing perspective to change the fitness industry from being going from a vanity industry to more of a actual, he calls it a sanity industry. So it's actually getting people sane, it's getting people the results that they're looking for, it's taking away that negative trend of increases in diabetes, increases in cardiovascular disease, all of these same things. It's the same mission that I have. So it was amazing to be able to interview someone with a similar goal as me and to be able to pick their brain on what it actually takes to be a successful personal trainer, what it takes to be able to create all of these systems to be able to have a successful business, both short and long term, working out exactly what works for people, what doesn't, why you need systems, all of these factors just taken into account to be able to get that outcome of helping people to achieve their results through exercise, through nutrition, through the mindset, by creating the systems around your business to be able to do so. So it's an amazing interview, go into lots of details. He has a wealth of experience. As I said, he's been writing for Men's Fitness for 15 years. He's done basically everything you can do like in the health and fitness industry and is now taking it to the next level. If you're in Australia as well, he's actually coming to Australia quite soon, and I've twisted his arm to be able to give him get a discount for all of the people who actually want to be able to get along to that. So it's really awesome. He also compliments me on my biceps, so I really love him. But seriously, you're going to get some great value from this podcast, and I guarantee that you'll want to go to his event after this, and you'll get great value from that as well. So enjoy the podcast. See you on the other side. Chasing Gains Radio, the insatiable quest for constant progression. Chasing is the act of pursuing. Gains is the result or positive outcome. Chasing Gains Radio. Here's your host, Cody McAuliffe. Hey guys, welcome to Chasing Gains Radio. Today we've got an absolutely phenomenal guest in Martin Rooney, who's created the most amazing training system out there called Training for Warriors. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Martin.
Hey, my pleasure, Cody. And I know we got some excitement for everybody down under and around the world today.
Yeah, awesome. Can you go into a little bit more detail about, I guess, where you started in the fitness industry and what led you to create this most amazing system in Training for Warriors?
Sure. And hey, hopefully all the listeners, I'll try to keep it brief because what I'm about to summarize is about the last 30 years. So it ages me a little how long I've been in the industry. But hey, so quickly, my mom was a physical education teacher. My dad was an athlete, got me really interested in sport and fitness. And after I went as a track and field athlete to college and got a degree in exercise science, I actually got another degree in orthopedic therapy. So I was a physiotherapist, maybe that's what you guys call it down there, for a number of years. And during that span, I also made the U.S. bobsled team. So I was representing the U.S. Around the world. I got to see training at the highest level and again, really fell in love back with training, but I was a therapist. And for everybody listening, I'm not saying don't be a therapist if that's what you want to be. It just wasn't where I was making the greatest impact. And fast forward, because of that, I had this knot in my gut, and we started a company called the Parisi Speed School that was working with kids, but I also started working with fighters and high-level athletes, and the Training for Warriors system was born. And that was almost 18 years ago. And in that span, it's gone from training the highest level athletes to now in the last decade, it's a fitness program that's now in almost 300 locations in 30 countries around the world, including a number of them in Australia, where we'll be talking about that because I am coming back there next month, which I'm excited about. And now thousands and thousands of people a day, regular weekend warriors, are losing fat and building muscle. And I couldn't be more excited about it because finally I'm making that impact that I wanted, and I only see more coming.
Yeah. Awesome. Really, I guess in terms of like that impact that you're looking to make, what's the end goal of like training for Warriors? And I guess why did you originally start it? So you're obviously working with lots of athletes, and you developed the system around that. But what was the transition from working with those athletes to working with trainers as well, and then the end goal of that?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. And for everybody listening, I think it's important to understand that the goal changes. Your end goals are a moving target. For many years, hey, I wanted to be a therapist. And before that, I wanted to be an athlete. And then after that, I wanted to be this maybe world renowned coach. And then I think things shifted as you get older. I don't know if it's that you start thinking more about the end of the legacy that you leave behind. And I have to say that, hey, I loved all the work that I did with the professional athletes, and I would never turn any of it in. But it's not going to be what you got that you get remembered for. It's what you gave back. And hey, we all know, everybody listening that's in the fitness industry, your chances of working with that maybe high level pro or that millionaire athlete are small. But man, right now, obesity is at an all-time high. Diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, heart disease. This is the stuff that's killing people, and it's all reversible. It's all something that we can prevent, and that's our job. And the more and more I got excited about it, and the more and more that I saw, I guess if you want to say regular people using this program and having great success, it only got me more fired up. And so, hey, so to maybe answer that question in the short version again, the original goal was, hey, helping the best athletes around the world. Now the goal is I want to save 1 million lives in 2017. And when I say save lives, it's losing fat, building muscle, reducing disease, getting off medications. And my network of coaches around the world, we're doing it. And I think it's a great mission that resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's definitely something that I see as well. So one of the reasons why I started the podcast is because I believe the fitness industry has the potential to be able to solve all of those issues. However, like to start off with, the fitness industry was predominantly a vanity industry rather than a health industry. And it's moving towards that direction now, where it's becoming more about having to focus on health and getting people to overcome those preventable diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, all of these things. And the fitness industry has the potential to be able to prevent those things, but it's just not at a point just yet. And having programs like yours to be able to have that focus, to be able to work with over 300 coaches, to be able to basically work towards that and have that as the focus is a great part of the fitness industry to be able to actually make that change. So awesome work. I guess in terms of your system, so why would a coach need to have a system to be able to help people achieve their goals?
Wow. Well, I think that's a great question. And it's kind of funny. I mean, I guess I would always answer it with a question. Well, how can you expect to do anything without a system? Which would be my first answer to that. So it's almost, hey, for anybody listening out there, unfortunately, hey, I will agree that we have moved more from vanity to what I would say sanity now in the fitness industry.
That's
but
awesome.
Also, still, I think there's a lot of people out there that are still information gatherers, meaning, wow, here's a new exercise or here's a crazy new workout. And unfortunately, those aren't systems. And if you don't have systems in place, it's very difficult not only to produce results, but let us not forget, Cody, that, hey, another big part of my business is I want the coaches and the people in my network to also have a great living and a great lifestyle. And that means you have to have business systems, marketing systems, advertising systems, communication systems, and the ability to connect and engage with people as well. And that I kind of title under coaching systems and what I'm presenting a lot about now. And so ultimately, again, I would say, man, if you don't have a system, you're in trouble. And a system doesn't mean you have lots of different push-ups in your toolbox. But going again, that the system gives people trust. The system gives people power. Human beings were attracted to systems that we know are going to produce and that are going to work, that are easy to understand. So if you look at any martial art, it's a system. And the ones that are the best, they have real systematic approaches to what they do. And hey, sport is a system and business is a system. And fitness needs to be that too. And it's interesting you ask that, because that is where I spend a lot of my time now, is continuing to tweak and systematize what we do so it's replicatable, which is hard, which is really hard to be able to do it around the world in different cultures, different languages, but that's what makes it exciting too. So the overall answer for everybody listening, if you don't have a system, you need to get one because it's going to be hard to succeed by accident.
Yeah, yeah. Totally agree with that. I find that just most people, everyone kind of has a system, but it's not necessarily set out and it's not something that they actually replicate over and over again because it's like a system is just a proven, predictable process to be able to follow, to be able to get a specific outcome. If they follow the system, then they get the outcome. A lot of people they just kind of wing it and they don't follow the same process every single time. So it's not predictable. And you said, then it's accidental success. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The analogy I like to use is if you don't have systems, it's just like gambling. Sometimes you win, but in the long run, the house wins. So
yeah. There wouldn't be any casinos if gambling won for everybody. But here's the other part, and the way you can interpret that to add to your analogy is, hey, I've been to Australia a number of times. There are a lot of gyms and there's a lot of competition, but each time I go back, the gyms, some of them are closed and then some of them are still open or they've changed names. And man, the thing that hurts me the most about that is here were all these people that they wanted to help people and they did it for the right reasons. Nobody gets into fitness. Hey, I don't think anybody's getting into fitness to be a multi-millionaire. You should go work in the stock market if you want to do that, which is gambling as well. But what I would say is that it's always unfortunate when I see that because it's people that they didn't have all the systems in place. They had a passion. They maybe had a knowledge of fitness, but there is so much more than that. And that's what not only do I understand, but what we're delivering for Training for Warriors so that not only can we help more people, but the only way you can do that is that these guys stay in business and they succeed.
Yeah, totally agree. I guess what's the difference then for those people? Because the fitness industry is kind of marketed as one of those things that people go into when they're looking at guessing, like having like a midlife crisis or just changing their career path. A lot of people will come into the fitness industry having the idea that, they're going to make good money and it's going to be a great lifestyle and stuff. What's the difference between people who come into the industry and people that stay in the industry long-term and are successful?
Man, well, I think the simplest way you could probably answer that is consistency and not giving up. Without a doubt, in any industry, hey, it's tough. Many businesses are tough, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it for anybody listening. The fitness business is tough. It's competitive. It's forever changing. Technology is evolving, as well as just what how the customer or the future client is educated and what they expect. If I just look at just in my history alone, we've gone from Nautilus gyms and selectorized equipment, gigantic gyms that were $100 a month that are now $10, aerobics rooms where we grapevined all over the place to now beat down workouts where people are ripping off their palms. It's this forever changing evolution, but yet the people that have succeeded are the ones that stay the course, they stay the mission, and I think a big part of that is to continue to stay current. So, hey, I have had to force myself to understand technology. I've had to, constantly look at yourself. Look, we're doing a Skype call from around the world, and this is going to be something that everybody can view. But there are a lot of people that won't take the time to learn the technology, how to do that. They could, but they don't. And it's the same thing with every aspect of the business. And again, I think it's unfortunate when people don't make it in the industry because it's not that they don't make it because they don't love fitness. And it's not that they don't make it because they don't want to help people or they don't want to have a good lifestyle. It's that they don't stay consistent and do the things they have to do. And then at the same time, evolve when it's time to evolve. So, and you know what happened to the dinosaurs? The dinosaurs, when they couldn't change, they all went away. And there are a lot of gyms like that. And for anybody listening, you have to question yourself every day. Hey, am I becoming a little bit like that? What do I need to evolve? How can I become better? And if you push the envelope all the time, the funniest part is not only does your business get better, but you get better too.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I guess in terms of how you're evolving your business then, so I understand that not all of my listeners will be able to make it to one of your events. Do you run anything that's actually online as well to be able to kind of go where the fitness industry is going as well, being a lot more online based?
Absolutely. And I guess I would say I wouldn't want to call myself more online based where, hey, some people in terms of technology like that, but yeah, every course. So the coaching greatness course that I'll be teaching, I'm teaching it in Sydney on November 14th. I'm teaching it in Perth on November 16th. And then I'm coming to Brisbane for a Training for Warriors certification on November 19th and 20th. And all of those are also they're also online as well. And really, if you look at it too, for anybody listening, really when I think online though, hey, social media is online. If you're not on Facebook, if you are not on Instagram, if you're not on Twitter, now maybe with the newer generation, it'll be Snapchat, but wherever you are, you need to be in those places too, as well as, hey, have a website and also really send the right message and have the presence. So for everybody listening, hey, yes, I have products online. That doesn't mean you have to have them as well. But what you do have to do is have a presence online, because that's where the people are that you're going to try to serve. Because I'll tell you, I met a guy recently in Europe, and he was like, oh, he was so proud to say, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not going to join that crowd. And I said, hey, you know where all the people are you want to reach that you want to come to your business and aren't coming? That's where they are. So don't be so proud not to be on there, because you're going to be so proud you're going to go right out of business. And maybe that's an example, again, of that dinosaur guy that didn't want to change. But, hey, for everybody listening, maybe an important part, too, would be take a look at your social media, though, because I think everybody's there. And you got to take a really good look what's on there and what kind of message you're sending out. This is something that I teach to my network, as well as I speak about in my lectures, because today I just see in order for us to help the fitness industry, we cannot scare the people that we want in this industry. So watch out how crazy the exercises are you do. Watch out how either shredded the pictures are of the people that you portray, or, hey, and then even worse, cursing, political stuff. I just see that, like, the people that want to help people, sometimes that's not the message we're sending out there. And as a result of that, maybe you're scaring those people away. So everybody, don't forget, you're trying to help that person that's been on the couch for the last few years, that, man, they're scared. They don't know what to do. They're confused. They're looking for help. And, hey, you showing off a Turkish getup with your girlfriend in your hand is probably not the answer to that. You know, that's probably going to sit them on that couch and lock them down. Yeah. So, you know, and I know it's funny to say it, but take a good look what message you're sending. Is it positive? Is it inviting? Is it to the people that you're trying to help? And if so, immediately it was worth you being on the call, because your business will be more successful.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. What I find is most personal trainers, when they're doing posts on social media, they do posts kind of at their level. So they're basically talking to other personal trainers. So they're talking about anatomical terms. They're talking about all the exercises. However, they're basically creating this massive disconnect between where they are and where the general population is. And it just means that they become discouraged just seeing that, because they're at this massively high level when this person hasn't even exercised in a year or two, going through all of this stuff about anatomical terms, all of this stuff that they just don't understand. It just creates a massive disconnect between those two people. So it's massively important to be able to, I guess, meet your potential prospect exactly where they're at and talk in their terms, which is exactly what you said. And that's going to get the best benefit in terms of your business. It's not necessarily going to make you feel amazing about the content that you're putting out there, because personal trainers are going to be like, oh, it's very simple. However, that's how you need to be able to talk to your potential prospects, to be able to get them from being inactive to getting into the routine of exercise and doing all of the things that they need to do to be able to get the result that they want, which is the end outcome that we're all working towards. I guess in terms of your certification process, so you've got over 300 facilities around the world. How is a facility that you affiliate with different to just your general gym?
Well, how it works, or how the whole process works right now, is I do courses all over the world. And every day we have people that write in that are interested in becoming part of Training for Warriors. Now, to explain, Training for Warriors is a license. So, for instance, you could have Cody's gym, And at Cody's Gym, you'd love to offer Training for Warriors as a profit center or an additional program or as a turnkey system for your group training or your personal training. So depending how the person wants to use it, they can use it in different fashions. We have some facilities that are just Training for Warriors. For instance, if you see the shirt I have here, this is Training for Warriors Brisbane Bayside, and we have Training for Warriors Brisbane Southside. Those are just strictly Training for Warriors facilities.
Yeah.
But then, say at the facility in Perth, they're a giant gym, but they've got a section of that becomes the Training for Warriors section in Perth. Now, how those people are selected is people come to the courses or they contact us, and then we go through a process to make sure that they're the right fit, they are on the same mission, and then even though we grow slower that way, man, we're growing forward with great people that want to execute the program. And what's really interesting, I think, or what's most important is it's so affordable for what people get, from the workouts to the training to the branding to the network that they get with all the trainers. And through all that support and the hundreds of hours of training content and ongoing content, the expectation is just, hey, help as many people as you can. And that's kind of the mission that I'm on now. And it's really neat, especially, and that's why I'm coming back to Australia, is because now we've got over a dozen of them. I mean, we're as far north as Darwin. I mean, we're south in Sydney. We're east in Brisbane and west in Perth. And it's just really cool to see how the mission is spreading, but how it also is really resonating with the Aussies, which I knew it would, because those guys are pretty fired up. But ultimately, it's people go through either the certification or they contact us first. We make sure it's the right fit and how they want to run it, and then we go through the process of moving forward. So, for instance, if anyone was interested on the call, hey, they can contact us at trainingforwarriors.com and or come see me at one of these events when I am in Australia, and we start the ball rolling.
Yeah, cool. In terms of your events, what can people expect from one of these events? So I've heard the biggest thing I've heard about people who've gone to your events is the passion that you have in presenting. So what can people expect from like an event with you?
Yeah, so I don't even like to call it an event. I guess, you hinted at it right there, that I would call it an experience. And hey, over the last 20 years of presenting, I know what a good seminar is, and then I know what a great one is. And each time what I try to do is outdo myself, where what I would say is the separator is you don't just get information, which I think any seminar can dispense, but you get a reminder of why you began in the first place. You get that fire back. You get that inspiration to take action. And I think that's the difference, where I went to hundreds of seminars before I ever taught one. And I can remember sometimes I would go and I would say, wow, I have all this new stuff. And then I would get back and then it would be Monday and I'd be like, so what did I learn again? Like, how am I any more valuable? And what I would say is, on Monday when you leave one of my courses, you're going to email me and tell me all the actions you took and how it worked. And that's the part that really gets exciting for me. I mean, and for anybody out there that ever wants to be into presenting, hey, there is no greater rush than not only inspiring a group, but then seeing them take action on what you put together, because that's actually the tough part, is keeping people accountable. So what you can expect from me is you're gonna be fired up out of your mind, but you're gonna do something about it too. And that's just, I don't know what it is, how I've figured out how to do it, but that's kind of the difference in the style.
Yeah, awesome. I guess in terms of like training styles, so one of the things I've been talking about quite a bit recently is it's not necessarily about the training method that you use. It's more about how you get people to be able to actually action it. So in terms of that, how do you get people to be able to, I guess, buy in to the system that you're doing in terms of either like coaches or the actual clients?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest secrets, and this is something that, unfortunately, and these are all things, if you notice, a lot of the stuff we're talking about, Cody, from presenting to business to the message that we are sending out to people, this isn't stuff that people are taught in school. This isn't stuff that is the cool or the hot topic. Like, hey, people want to talk about psoas length, and they want to talk, and they want to talk about some new variation of an exercise that they've just seen, or diagnosing the butt wink, like, hey, or hey, the benefits of going gluten free. These are all, hey, that's all great stuff. But when you leave the classroom for the real world, there are ways that you can be successful. And you just hit the biggest one. You ready? You've got to keep people not only consistent, but they have to do it. And they don't just have to do it when they're with you, because let's play real world again. They only come to you a few days a week. And that means there are 165 other hours a week they're not with you that you need to affect as a coach. And these are the things that I'm creating with my organization. So how do we do it? The simplest word, I guess you could say, is culture. There's a culture that's created. See, for instance, other history on myself, I'm a black belt in judo.
Yeah.
And judo had a real effect on my life. I became part of that culture. Even when I would be training during the week, even when I was off the mats, it still affected how I ate and how I slept and how I behaved. And it was because I became part of something bigger. I became part of a culture, a community. And so I've paid particular attention over the last decade and a half on how to build that, studying not only the world's greatest coaches and teams, but then, hey, making mistakes and falling on my face and seeing how to do it correctly. But what we've done is we've created something that not only people can believe in, but now they know they can say, hey, what I'm doing today is the same thing that guy did in Helsinki, or the same thing that they did on the Sunshine Coast. I got to do it too. I'm part of something bigger, and wow, this is so cool. And the accountability starts to become more. So if I had to get it down, I guess, and for all the listeners there, it's pretty cool, down to one word, it would be the we.
Yeah.
Where everybody wants to have a we. You know, when the Olympic Games were just going in Rio, I bet, hey, Australia was watching the off season, like, hey, remember when it was in Sydney and Kathy Freeman running on the track, man? Like, there was some big we's going on there. And not only that, but pretty interesting how much the country medaled at their own games versus the last few, right?
Yeah.
But because the we makes everything stronger, it makes people do more. There's more that happens. And again, this is stuff, hey, I'm still trying to crack the code and continue to figure out more. But without a doubt, that is the biggest, I think, piece that, man, when people are wearing this logo and they all have it all over the world and they become part of something bigger with a system, you're instantly stronger than trying to either figure it out yourself or worst case scenario, open up a business and you don't have any of it, because that's a tough way to succeed.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's definitely something that I try and instill with all the trainers that I work with, creating that community around the service that they're basically offering, so that, like, then it's the power of all of the people rather than just someone fighting like a lone battle the entire time. Even if with like professional athletes, they have a team of people around them helping them to achieve a goal. It's never just them being a lone wolf doing every single thing on their own. If it's like a professional athlete, then they're going to have a team of coaches, physios, all of these people around them that are creating that community to be able to help push them forward. And the best thing to do with, I guess, coaches is do that in terms of getting involved in a system where you're in that community yourself, but then you're also creating that community around the service that you offer to be able to have those people that are actually coming for your service be basically, the analogy I use is be peer pressured into succeeding. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, hey, this is a tough topic. For instance, I'd love to be able to say, hey, here's the real go-to book on, you just go read it and you can now just build culture and get everybody accountable and everybody becomes part of something more. I think that's the kind of, I don't want to say it's luck, but I would say that it wasn't what I was seeking to create, but now we have it. And now I see the importance of it, and I see how other companies also have done it. It's almost, here would be the word I would use, instead of luck, organic.
Yeah.
Where this thing has taken on this organic life of its own. And man, I'm kind of lucky to be part of it. But ultimately, you can maybe reverse engineer it a little, where, guys, whoever is listening, if you're trying to train people, like, they have to become part of this bigger vision or mission. But why? Because they're already on the couch in their own little vision or mission. It's not working. They have no reason. They're not fired up. There's nothing holding their feet to the fire to do it. But man, if they could say, my coach is counting on me, or my team, like you said, professional athletes, my team is counting on me, or my country is counting on me, then all of a sudden people they start to do amazing things. And I'll tell you what, nobody's teaching that in exercise physiology class. Like you're learning about the Krebs cycle, and ultimately that one's probably not going to help you as much as if you created a community that supported each other and fired each other up. And I'll say this though too, it's easier than ever. I don't know. I wish I had a roadmap, but I'll say this: it's easier than ever with Facebook and just the ways that you can already create it in social media. It's waiting on the fingertips for you. But again, what we talked about earlier, the leader has to take action. You got to make all this stuff happen. You got to stay nonstop consistent. And when things change, you got to be ready for that too.
Yeah, totally agree. I definitely think it is driven by whoever is the leader in that situation. And I think, like another analogy I use is like people can very easily just quit on themselves and then they just stop doing something. So if they don't have someone to be accountable to, then it's very easy for them to quit on themselves. If they're just seeing a trainer like in a one-on-one situation, then it's still, there's that extra level of accountability, but they can still quit. They can still be like 5:30 in the morning, I'm going to cancel today. If they've got that higher level of accountability, so if they've posted on social media that they're going to achieve a goal, or they're in a community, they're doing group training in terms of like a group session or something, then they're accountable to all of the people in that group as well. So it's just creating, I guess, accountability systems and putting it out there so that it's not just that one person on their own or that one person with their trainer. Is creating that basically accountability to all of those people to make sure that it's not just about you. Because as soon as you start focusing about how you feel that day, then it's just like, oh yeah, I don't really feel like it. However, if you feel like you're going to be letting coach down, you're going to be letting everyone else in the team down, then it just basically forces people into doing the work required even when they don't feel like it. Is that something you find as well?
Absolutely. And that's why you're hitting a little bit of a trend too. We talked about trends. Hey, I don't know how many people out there are still personal training just one-on-one, but I will say this, probably the reason you're doing it is either you've been in the industry for 20 or 30 years, or you're just making really good money and you've got a stable base of clients that pay you a lot that you're afraid to let them go. But I will say this, the industry has changed. I think it's more affordable now for people to train in groups. I think there's more accountability. I think there's more energy. I think there's more excitement. And even crazier is maybe there's even more results sometimes too. And ultimately what you're talking about there, which I mention a lot, is that in a one-on-one session, which, hey, that's where I cut my teeth. I was a one-on-one guy at 17 all the way to probably 27, 28 before it was like, oh, wow, we're going to move to a group of 2. And I can remember the fear of trying to get someone to do that. And then, oh, wow, now it's group of 4, small group. Then it was 8. Now, Training for Warriors is mainly a group training program of groups of 20, rolling deep where people are just fired up. And the energy is unmatched. But at the same time, too, the results and all the different pieces that we just hinted at right there, the community, the accountability, that is, I think, the secret of where group training is moving now. And you can have a better hour. So for anybody listening, personal training out there, 1, your hour will be more exciting. 2, if they're paying, even if they're on EFT and you equate it out to you're getting, I don't know, $10 a session, but you got 20 people in there, you're making $200 a session versus you're probably not charging $200 an hour for the people you're working with. Or if you are, you either live probably in downtown Sydney or Manhattan. But the whole thing is, but yet still it's scalable more too. You can fit more people, you got more hours, and you can grow more of a business. So if you only are one-on-one, then you probably only got 20 or 30 people. That's not a big community. But if you're running a good small little fitness facility and you got a membership base of 300, man, you got an army there waiting for you. So definitely that is another biggie of how the industry has changed. But there are so many parameters and systems that people have to have down to be able to succeed in that. And again, that's what Training for Warriors is about. That's where myself and my team spend our time trying to pioneer and carve that a little bit.
Yeah, awesome. I guess in terms of trends then, like obviously online training is now becoming more of a trend as well. Is the Training for Warriors like a system that could be taken to, I guess, an online platform as well?
I have not done that. So what I would say is I think anything could be taken online, but look what we just talked about. You just talked about community. We just talked about accountability. And I guess that's why I haven't done that, because I don't really believe somebody's going to write in and now go, I guess, be trusted to go work out on their own and eat and do everything on their own and not have that group. Look what we've done. Now what we did is we actually made it personal training, but we removed the trainer, from being there as well. So I would say I think that will be challenged. Now, hey, I could be wrong. I just was at the airport. There's no more people checking people in anymore. Hey, I could be wrong. I go to the grocery store here. I don't know how it is in Australia, but you can check yourself out. There's no people. Yep. And if that's with the exchange of money, I used to think that was important. But I will say, and what I talk about a lot, one of the things I really want to be known for is to improve people as a coach. I believe coaching is skin to skin still at that level. You're probably not going to see an Olympian just getting coached remotely, and that's it, online. It's that skin to skin. It's that community. It's that we that I really, hey, why I'm saying it too is this is for every trainer out there. Because if everything moved online and they didn't need us, that would really hurt the industry and all of us. But what I would say is, don't get replaced by some fitness tool or some app on your phone. If you continue to be the coach of coaches and you set people on fire, they're going to want to be around you to come watch you burn. And so again, short answer again, I always give the long and the short. Short answer is no, we don't have it online. And I would say because I haven't really met people that they just do workouts online, have no coach and no community, and have incredible success.
Yeah. I think it's a very specific market for online training for people who are generally already in the routine of exercise, whereas the system that you have is more targeted to people who are like getting into exercise. They're not looking at like basically, I guess the biggest one is like comp prep athletes. So I work with a few comp prep athletes and stuff online, but they're in the routine of exercise. All they're doing is taking it from that kind of that high level to that extreme level, and that's where it can kind of fit in. However, like that's probably like 0.001% of the population. And the majority of the people that like are looking at improving their health, that are solving the problems within the fitness industry, do need that, I guess, in-person attention to be able to get them from where they are of not doing anything to be able to get to that point where they're actually in the routine of exercise, they're improving their eating habits, and they're doing everything they need to do to be able to get the result that they're looking for in terms of like body composition, but also basically minimize their risk of things like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, all the issues that the fitness industry has the potential to be able to solve. I guess with your in terms of like the training methods and stuff that you do a bit of sprint training, is that right? In terms of
absolutely. So, our philosophy, we kind of call it lift heavy and sprint, which was based from the athletes. And with that, hey, I use both terms, I guess you could say loosely, where heavy and sprinting means two different things from a 21-year-old athlete to a 61-year-old overweight housewife.
Yeah.
But ultimately, hey, we Training for Warriors is a combination of resistance training and metabolic work where, hey, some days a week we are loading up bars and some days a week we are increasing velocity of movements to create a metabolic effect. And both of those, obviously from my background, number one, man, we want to keep it safe. I think that's a scary trend that has happened in this industry is safety kind of got thrown out the window, and it just became about, and I believe it's with the advent of the internet, it became, hey, how cool can I look or how crazy can it go? But I think it's going to shift back. It has to. It will. And what will happen is, hey, we know resistance training. We've got 100 years worth of studies on it. We understand it works from muscle mass, whether you want to maintain it or you want to increase it. We understand from neural drive. We understand its effects on longevity, bone density. We got it. But with the metabolic aspect, the studies are all becoming relatively new, and that's the stuff I get excited for to see, what's happening. But really cool where everything continues to support what we're doing. Which, hey, with the 20 years of we're working with athletes, I've made a lot of mistakes to figure out, I guess, how to do it. Now we have this stuff going in there, but I would caution everybody out there: just take a look, like guys, on the work-rest ratios, the intensity that you do stuff. And just always really understanding who the people are ultimately that you're working with. And that's what coaching is all about. I think that's the part too, is there is no one size fits all workout. You can't just say, hey, everybody do this and for the exact same number and the exact same weight. I think that's a dangerous thing. But then that missing element becomes, then you got to know how to coach. You got to be able to know your people. And so again, to summarize, there's multiple days a week of resistance training, multiple days a week of metabolic work. And the combination of those two together has really, if anybody wants to look at trainingforwarriors.com, and we have a little transformation gallery that we just started. It's about probably 500 before and after pictures that we've just put up recently. And I'm just going to continually add more. And it's just it's just neat where I want to have thousands and thousands of those until it's kind of like, well, yeah, I think we kind of know it works. And but at the same time too, that don't forget, you got to keep it fun and all the stuff that we talked about too, that it gives them a reason to do it. But yeah, so I know I keep giving the long-winded version, but that in a nutshell, because I'm also very proud of the training, meaning I take it really serious, and just how we progressively build it and what our network does. But and I think that's important too, because you can't just say, hey, 100 of these and 500 of those, and then tomorrow let's do 1,000 of this and 600 of that. Hey, it sounds real cool, but for people in the know, it just sounds real crazy. And and remember too, for everybody listening, our job's not to be cool, guys. Like, job's not to be cool. Hey, if you can do it right and it's cool, now you're a really great coach.
Yeah.
But if you're just cool and people are getting hurt, or you're just cool and even worse, they're not getting results, that business isn't going to last long.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's, I guess, the rise of CrossFit has kind of gone with that as well. So if you've got like a system where it's all well and good if people progress at the right weight. However, a lot of people let their ego get in the way. They see someone else doing a certain weight and they're like, oh, well, I'm as good as them. I can do that weight, when they haven't gone through the work to be able to get to that point and be able to do that weight and basically do it with good form without risking injury. So their ego basically just takes over, and then they start doing exercises or weights they shouldn't be doing because the workout is 100 reps of this, 100 reps of this, 100 reps of this, and the goal weight is set for them, and they feel like they're, I guess, failing or a lesser person by doing a lower weight or regressing back, when generally a lot of those people have had to do lots of work to be able to build up to that point. So I guess the main thing is understanding that each person has a specific individual context, and if you've got a system set up where you can have them do what is going to be, I guess, required and specific to them at that point in time without them feeling lesser for doing so, then it's going to be much more beneficial than having a system set up, which is kind of how CrossFit is set up, where you've got specific weights to be able to do, and there's like an elite level, and then it's marketed to people who are not necessarily exercising so much, but these people aren't at the point to be able to do those kind of workouts yet, and then the risk of injury just goes up massively, and it just means that it's just this system that has great potential, but when people's egos get in the way, then it means that their risk of injury just goes up as well. Would you agree with that?
Well, hey, first off, what I would say is, I'm not familiar with a lot what all other companies are doing. So, for instance, you mentioned different companies, and I think, hey, it comes back to, like we said too, it's the coach itself and how they execute the system. It'd be easy for somebody to say, hey, this one guy of your Training for Warriors thing, he didn't do something the exact way either. So I never want to nitpick systems, but I will say about the one you mentioned, hey, we talked about community and accountability and different stuff. And those guys would be incredible people to study on how they did it, because and hey, so everybody always understands out there too. I don't badmouth people or systems. It's just a smart thing to do. But what I would say, one thing that you hinted on that I can say about Training for Warriors is that, guys, Training for Warriors is not a sport. So what I will say, what you just talked about, is by making something competitive or in essentially a sport, then there is going to be more inherent risk. Look, playing football, which you guys call football different than what we call football, or rugby or something else. Hey, it's a sport. People are going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Hey, you play rugby, you're going to get hurt, and it's okay. And see, what I want everybody to understand is Training for Warriors is not a sport.
Yeah.
It's an art. So we are not there to compete with anybody else. We're competing with ourselves. And I think that's the different path that the organization you mentioned took, which, hey, is very exciting for people. And people want that. There is an amount of competitive population out there that they want that stuff.
Yeah.
But they've accepted to either, whether you want to say earn those injuries or whatever else, but by being a sport, you know what you're getting yourself into. What I want to delineate is that is not what we're doing here. So I'm looking at it as this is fitness forever. This is fitness for life, not like, hey, I'm getting ready for a big thing next week. And because in those cases, every time when I was in my athletic career, I would push things to limits. And hey, I have been injured because of that, but it was an accepted risk because of what I was trying to achieve.
Yeah.
At Training for Warriors, that is not an accepted risk. And those are things that I have to always make sure our system understands too, because I will say this. We lift weights. People want to see more weight on the bar. People, it's a natural competitiveness that comes out. And this is stuff that I've had to build into the system to attempt to control.
Yeah.
But I will say, hey, I understand the challenge with systems everywhere. But definitely that would be the piece I would mention, though, is if it's going to get competitive, don't get surprised if your technique goes down and you're doing whatever it takes to win and ugly things rear its head. But that's a decision that's made of what you are.
Yeah.
But just to get everybody to understand, that's not what Training for Warriors is about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I guess probably it's just more. I guess CrossFit is a system that has had a lot of growth in the previous years and has that potential and has made a massive impact on the fitness industry. It's just lined up in certainly a different way that you're setting it up to be able to have all of those people, get the outcomes that they're looking to achieve with minimizing that risk of injury. So it's a really good comparison to understand like the differences in paths, which is really awesome. I guess in terms of like coaches that you work with, so like people who've done your affiliate program and stuff like that, how would you go through a selection process to, I guess, find those people that are the right fit? So whenever I'm talking with like other trainers and stuff and they're looking for clients, I say that they need to also describe what they don't want in a client. So like people who wouldn't be a good fit, is there any categories that you would have for that? So like if someone's just interested in, say, the money, or they're looking for a quick fix as a trainer, then that's probably not someone that you're looking for. So I guess what are the criteria that you'd be looking for if you were going to take on an affiliate, and I guess the things that you'd be trying to avoid in a coach with becoming an affiliate?
Well, it's funny. I think that the two words that pop immediately into my head, and we have a team, we go through a process to look at. But what I would say is the first two, they start with A, is attitude and aptitude. So it's kind of interesting how you talked about ego getting in the way in the gym. Well, hey, ego can get in the way with the coach in the gym as well. So when I say attitude, hey, is the attitude, maybe if I were to talk to you or look at your Facebook and everything, do you want to help people? Do you want to keep things safe? What are you looking for? How do you want to use this program? But then when it comes to aptitude, see, I think that's where people make a big mistake. What you'll notice is I won't say, hey, you have to have 10 degrees and you got to be a PhD and you got to be, that might be the worst person. I want someone with aptitude that has the ability to grow, but grow with the system and really learn it and apply it. And you know what? I've been a pretty good judge of character, and ultimately, I think it's interesting that sometimes I would even say, man, I wonder about this guy. Is this guy got it? He doesn't have as much experience, or this person didn't. And that's sometimes our best people, because the less they have to unlearn and the more passionate they are about what they're doing, it's actually easier. So what I would say is it's a combination of attitude and aptitude, whereas it might surprise people that they might say, wait a minute, you didn't ask if he has 10 certifications and knows what he knows. Like that is sometimes not really an interest of mine versus is this person passionate? Are they hardworking? And do they really have the ability to grow? Because with Training for Warriors, we have hundreds and hundreds of hours of content that they have to devour and understand as the system becomes more robust. And I want to make sure that the person has the ability to, not only the ability, but wants to do that. And when they do, it's this magic combo. And then when they get in with the rest of our trainers and everybody starts supporting everybody, the real magic happens. And it's one of my favorite places to go every day is we have our online chat rooms and our private groups. And just to see the energy and the emotion of what's happening throughout the network every day around the world, it's pretty addictive, to be honest. Like when I get in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff that started, as we talked about earliest on this call, so many years ago that this was never the vision, and look what it's become. Sometimes I just take a step back and I don't know, and you see it and you say, wow, like this was built by everybody. And I think that's important to say, hey, this is not just me. Like right now, the people in Australia are carrying this program out. The people in Australia, they're the ones that are impacting people and helping people with it. And hey, I'm just a guide on the tour. Those are the guys with their feet on the ground in Oz making stuff happen. And like I said, it's just super cool, and it has led to really amazing adventures, which I will, which I'm hoping to have another one real soon, because this will be my toughest Australia trip, because to land in Sydney, then to fly to Perth, then to fly to Brisbane and present multiple days and do it all in a week.
Yep.
It's I just hope all the flights work out. So it's gonna be nuts. Yeah. And it's about 30 hours to get there before I even get there first.
Yeah. Should be good. I think a lot of people are going to get some great value from that. I guess, do you have any examples of people who've become one of your coaches, and then I guess any stories around how they, I don't know, there's always stories when you've gone to a certification and someone's basically just like at the point where they're almost ready to leave the industry, and then they've been re-inspired by like the course that you basically run. Obviously, you've got all of these facilities that have got amazing results. Could you touch on some of the results that they've got because of the systems that you've brought into their gyms?
Well, hey, the one that pops into my head most immediate is, again, the shirt I am wearing today. And hey, I'll keep it brief because the story is actually more powerful than I could tell it. But I think anybody that wants to hear it, you should check him out and hey, reach out to him. His name is Brett McBain. He is in Brisbane. So he's in Brisbane. You should go talk to him.
Yeah. He
runs Brisbane right here, Brisbane Bayside. The dojo, the facility is amazing. And hey, he wasn't completely in the fitness industry. He was in the military. He was in the police force in Australia. And hey, he had some big challenges. He can share that more with everybody else, but he had some tremendous challenges. He came to the course, and even more powerful than not being involved anymore in fitness. He was ready to just stop being involved in, just any career.
Yeah.
And the course turned him around, and he became so inspired, and then opened it. And for me to then see him running charity events and helping people, and just the excitement that I see coming out of there. Those stories like that are the fuel. Stories like that are hey, because you could have asked, hey, Martin, man, that does sound like a crazy trip to Australia. Why would you do it? Your organization is big enough now. Do you really need to do that anymore? And the answer to that one, Cody, is no, I don't. I could stay here and sit in HQ right here and just try to orchestrate. But stories like that of people's lives that have been touched, and now he's helping hundreds and hundreds or even thousands of lives be inspired too. It all hinged on one course or maybe one trip, and he saw me in Melbourne. So, and you never know. So that one, guys, I would suggest anybody check out his place and what he's doing. And if you ever get a chance to talk to him, hey, reach out to him and ask him for his story. I'm sure he'll share it, and it's powerful. It's powerful. But without a doubt, there are dozens and dozens of stories like that. There's guys that we had stories of guys starting in their garage we had a guy that he's in Oklahoma. He's a fireman, and that's not what he wanted to do. And he's like, do you think I can do this? And they start in their garage, and the garage turns into a facility. The facility becomes a bigger facility, and now they're helping so many people. And I guess that, I think, is what makes Training for Warriors unique also, is we are not we're not like big box gyms. I don't have, any relationships right now with like some kind of gigantic commercial gym, and they just bring this program in. It's kind of like these small little steps of people that really it resonates with them. They want something more. They either want to be in this industry or they were thinking of leaving it, and then this reignites the fire again. And but not only that, but gives them a system that they can stand on firm ground and help people with. And I think that's what people were, we've identified today. People are missing that. And for somebody to be able to say, wow, I'm just so much stronger by being part of this than I am trying to figure it out myself, it becomes a no-brainer. And that is, again, that's the fuel that fires me up every day when somebody's life gets changed by a guy that wasn't going to do it, and now they do it. It's cool.
Yeah, awesome, great stories there. I think it's really just important to like, with the growth of Training for Warriors, you're taking a very, I guess, strong growth approach. So it's not necessarily about the numbers; it's more about driving that quality. Like Training for Warriors is something that you could, as you said, put into massively big box gyms and just basically explode it. However, then I guess the quality of trainers and the quality of coaching would then get watered down. I guess it's just highlighting to me, and I guess all the listeners as well, that it's more about having that system where you can have the biggest impact possible, which is why you're going through a massive travel schedule to be able to help even more people, to give that, I guess, best service, to be able to get them to be able to get the best outcomes for themselves. So it's just highlighting, I guess, how much passion that you have and how important this is to you to be able to basically make that massive difference in the fitness industry. I find a lot of people who have been in the fitness industry for a while tend to just want to, I guess, monetize it as much as possible, whereas they've lost that vision of making that difference in the fitness industry. And that's definitely something that, like I found with you, that's the one focus, is making that difference and actually having that positive impact on the fitness industry. And I guess that's rare for someone of your success. So I think it's really important for, I guess, the listeners to take note of that and, I guess, be appreciative for you continuing to do the work to be able to make that positive impact on the fitness industry. So thanks for that.
No, hey, well, I not only appreciate it, but I think the message in there, and hey, don't get it wrong. Here's a couple things I'll say, a couple big bits of wisdom, which I think is big. Number one, it's not noble being broke. So it's not noble. Like, also, I don't want people to get the wrong idea that, hey, I should just suffer and I should never have anything. But what I will say is that the track that I always took was I always tried to over deliver, and I always tried to do what was right. And I believe if you do that long enough and hard enough, the money and the success or whatever it is that you want, it's going to show up in your life. And it has. So, but it has by just every time doing your best. Hey, on this call, I hope everybody likes it. I'm trying to do my best. I want to give my best for this so that it affects somebody. And if you do that day in and day out long enough and hard enough, great things are going to happen. But I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Like, oh wow, it's never about money. Hey, you deserve to make money, and you should make money if you have a great product, and you're increasing your own value and giving your best, because I do want people to know in this industry that you can have a great life too, and that you can enjoy yourself. But I won't sugarcoat it. Hey, you got to do the work and you got to do a great job. And that one, that made those couple pieces of wisdom right there. What's right is right. Always do your best. And man, don't think you're being like this honorable person by suffering. You don't have to be like that. That's a mindset change. And hey, I had to make it because I didn't grow up wealthy. There was a mindset. I can remember I couldn't sell a lot of the programs that we sold because I felt like if it was me, I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And then I had to change my idea of what the value of what was that I offered, and also who I was, and learning how to value my own time, which I think I don't maybe do as good as I could. But ultimately, these are all big things, again, that you probably didn't get in school. But if anybody's listening, you could really hear those things.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff will help you and change it.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's like the perfect thing to finish on for the podcast. It's like it's a combination of everything. It's awesome. I guess for our listeners, So I've been able to twist your arm to be able to get a bit of a discount on the courses that's coming up because you're going
Yeah,
to.
the Australians are working me over there. Every time,
Yeah, that's good.
every time I get out there. Well, hey, so hey, for everybody listening, and Cody asked, and for all his listeners, so this is putting the pressure on now, Cody and all of you listeners. As I already mentioned, I'm going to check it again. So I am coming on Monday, November 14th to Sydney. I'm going to be doing a Coaching Greatness live event.
Yep.
I'm also going to be doing one in Perth on November 16th. The information for that is at trainingforwarriors.com. And if you want to attend one of those, because you are on this podcast, if you use the code CG Live50, and I think Cody can get that information out, but I'll try to write it down here again too.
Yep.
So CG Live50.
Yep.
If you write that code down and hit apply,
Yep.
you will get $50 USD off that event. And as an even crazier one, in Brisbane, Australia, in the honor that because Cody is in Brisbane, Australia, and that is November 19th and 20th.
Yeah.
If you enter the code at trainingforwarriors.com, TFW100, you will get $100 USD off of the course because I am aware that right now the Australian dollar isn't at the best and things are going on. So, hey, if you're listening and anything resonated with you today, wait till you see me live. So get to one of those events. I want to fill them so that, man, I can help as many Aussies as I can and have some fun because usually they're a lot more crazy than some of the countries I go and present at. But, hey, if you enjoyed this today, I'm looking forward to seeing you at one of those, and you got to take advantage of one of those special discounts too.
Yep. Awesome. So I'll definitely see you at the Brisbane event, so that'll be good. And I'm going to try and get a couple of my trainers that I work with as well to be able to come along, so hopefully we'll be able to fill that one up for you. I guess
Awesome.
In terms of where's the best people to be able to get more information about Training for Warriors in terms of, I guess, social media?
So, hey, you can check out just the Training for Warriors page on Facebook.
Yep.
You can also find Training for Warriors HQ on Instagram. You'll see some really cool pictures that go up every day from around the network. And you can also check my pages out, too, because I'm always featuring it. And I am Martin Rooney on Facebook, The Martin Rooney on Instagram, and I think Martin Rooney 1 on Twitter. But no matter what, if you type it in, I guarantee you'll not only get yourself a little more fired up that day, but chest a little taller, walk a little faster, and get something done. So, and I'm hoping for everybody, guys, that this call did it for everybody today, too.
Yep, awesome. All right, I'll put all those links in the description as well so people can follow you as well. I always love like interviewing people who are massively passionate about that fitness industry and always looking at making that positive impact like you are. So it's always a pleasure to be able to, I guess, pick your brain of someone who's as successful as you, but still having that focus of making that massive impact in the fitness industry. So I really appreciate your time today.
Hey, my pleasure. Just getting started. And for everybody looking at, hey, Cody's biceps actually grew an inch during this speech today. I mean, I gotta stand up taller. He's making me feel like I'm not big enough. I gotta start doing stuff. He's got it. But no, hey, my pleasure, man. And hey, share it. Like that's the most important stuff. You're doing that. You're getting this information out and you're sharing it with everybody. And hey, for everybody listening, do that too. When you get something great, share it. And man, everybody wins.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks again.
Hey, my pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Chasing Gains Radio. Be sure to use the Chasing Gains Radio hashtag on all social media. If you have any questions, queries, or comments about the podcast, use this hashtag. Thanks again for listening to Chasing Gains Radio. Be sure to share and like this podcast to help spread the Chasing Gains movement.